So in today's class we are going to study about the branches of psychology. Psychology is vast. Various fields of specialization in psychology have emerged over the years. So we are going to discuss some of them in today's class. So first let us talk about cognitive psychology. So cognitive psychology is the branch of psychology which studies mental processes such as attention, perception, memory, reasoning, creativity, thinking, use of language, etc. So I already told you what mental processes are. So these processes, the ones that I have mentioned now, we will be studying about these in details in later chapters. So you don't have to think about it as of now. This is what cognitive psychology studies, and these cognitive psychologists also collaborate with neuroscientists and computer scientists. I won't go into details about what a neuroscientist is, but as a layperson, if you think about neuroscientists, so what comes in our mind? Laboratory, hospitals, diagnosis. They treat patients in clinics and hospitals, right? They study about brain and their functions, all those things, if we think from a layperson's perspective. Since cognitive psychology also studies about mental processes and how they are involved in our behavior in day-to-day life, so they can collaborate with neuroscientists. And about computer scientists, I think in one of your classes I mentioned that how a computer imitates a human, how a computer imitates the human brain. Computer scientists can also study about human brain, and they help a computer imitating the human brain and its functions. So now let us talk about biological psychology. So I'm sure that all of you had biology till class 10, so you know that whatever you have studied in biology. You must have studied about brain, its functions, nervous system, immune system, and about the genetics. So the way we behave depends a lot on these physical systems of our body. So it is very much interconnected. So biological psychology studies this relationship between behavior and other physical systems of our body. They also collaborate with neuroscientists, zoologists, zoologists study about animals, and anthropologists, they study about human societies and cultures and their development. So biological psychologists, they collaborate with neuroscientists, zoologists, and anthropologists because they are interrelated fields and they can draw from each other. Now let us talk about the field of neuropsychology. So neuropsychology is a field of psychology where neuroscientists and psychologists come together. In this field of psychology, they study about the role of neurotransmitters or chemical substances which are responsible for neural communication in different areas of the brain and therefore in associated mental functions. So let me simplify this for you. I'm sure you all must have studied about neuron in your previous classes in your biology books. So what is a neuron? A neuron is a nerve cell that is the basic building block of the nervous system. So neurons are found in your body parts, neurons are found in your brains, and inside neuron there is a chemical substance known as neurotransmitters. So neurotransmitters are transmitted from one neuron to another, and they are responsible for carrying information from one neuron to another. Like I said that neurotransmitters are responsible or are associated with mental functions. So I already told you about what mental functions are. For example, attention, perception, creativity, thinking, all these are mental functions. So while you are processing some information from the environment, then the information is carried through the neurons to your brain. Okay, so in the brain there are billions of neurons which does this whole process, and inside the neuron these informations are passed on from one neuron to another neuron by this chemical substance known as the neurotransmitters. So now you see the connection, how neurotransmitters are associated with these mental functions. There are more details um, about it, okay, but I'm not going into more details because in the coming chapters you will be studying about it. But I'm sure that for now you got the connection between neurotransmitters and mental functions. So neuroscientists and psychologists come together to study about this relationship. So now let us talk about developmental psychology. So developmental psychology is a field of psychology where they study about how human beings change over the course of their lives in relation with the physical, social and psychological changes. So as we all know, throughout our lives we keep on changing. How you were 5 years ago, you are not the same person, whether it's physically, socially or psychologically. So obviously physically you have grown, you look older, then psychologically you have matured, then socially also you have learned many social skills, so you have more knowledge about the society, you know about moral values, ethics. Okay, you do not behave like a child anymore now, since you are an adolescent, you are a teenager, right? So we all are developing over these years, and this development happens throughout our lives. Okay, so in the early years, developmental psychologists, they mostly emphasized on the development of child and adolescent, but nowadays they also show strong interest in adult development and aging. So they focus on biological, socio-cultural and environmental factors that influence psychological characteristics such as intelligence, cognition, emotion, temperament, morality and social relationship. So these factors, our biological factors, the society where we live in, our culture and other environmental factors do affect things like our level of intelligence, the way we perceive things, our emotions, then the moral values that we have, the kind of social relationship we have. These are affected by our biology or our society or the culture that we are brought up in. So they study about these relationships. So developmental psychologists, they collaborate with anthropologists, educationists, neuropsychologists, social workers, counselors and almost every branch of knowledge. So now let us talk about social psychology. So as the name suggests, social psychology, this field of psychology is related to our society. So this field of psychology studies about how we interact with the society, how we are affected by the social environment, how we think and how we are influenced by others or we influence others. And social psychologists study many topics such as attitude, conformity, obedience to authority, interpersonal interaction, interpersonal attraction, aggression, prejudices, motivation, how we motivate each other, our intergroup relation, group cohesiveness, so everything related to society. Okay, so social psychologists study psychology which is related to the society. So many topics of social psychology like attitude, social influence, all this will be there in your class 12 textbook, and you will be studying about it in details. So now let us talk about cross cultural and cultural psychology. So again, as the name suggests, in this field of psychology we study psychology in terms of its in terms of its culture. It examines the role of culture in understanding behavior, thought and emotion. So we all know that we are from different cultural backgrounds. In India only, if you see, there are so many different kinds of culture, and if you see that all of us, we vary in our behaviors, thoughts and feelings, how we behave, everything is different from each other. So culture plays a lot when it comes to how we behave, how we think and our emotions. Okay, so I think in your day-to-day life also, you may be giving examples, because I am an Assamese, so this is in my blood and this is how I behave, or because I am a Punjabi, so this is in my blood and this is how I behave, right? So yes, culture do affect how we behave, how we think and our emotions, and there has been scientific research to support these kind of studies. And cross cultural and cultural psychology studies a human being in relationship with their culture. So now let us talk about environmental psychology. So again, as the name suggests, this field of psychology is related to your environment, to your surrounding. It focuses on the study of the interplay between individuals and their surroundings. So it studies the interaction of physical factors such as temperature, humidity, pollution and natural disasters on human behavior. Now, for example, you are working in a very polluted and hot city, so this is definitely going to affect your behavior, the way you behave. Okay, or suppose you are working in some office and it's very congested, the AC is also not working and it's really hot. At that point of time also, it is going to affect your mood, your feelings, your thoughts, your behaviors, and probably it will lower your productivity as well. So I'm sure you all are aware about the Bagjan gas leak tragedy. So a lot of people, they were displaced from their own homes. Two firemen, they have also lost their lives. So it has not affected these people only economically or financially, but it has affected them psychologically as well. So now if a psychologist wants to study the effect of this particular incident on the lives of these people, okay, how psychologically, mentally it has affected their lives, then it will come under the field of environmental psychology. So now let us talk about health psychology. So psychology is about mental health, and we need both physical and mental health for the holistic and all-round development of a person. So health psychology is that field of psychology where they study about psychological and behavioral processes in health, illness and healthcare. It focuses on the role of psychological factors, for example stress and anxiety, in the development, prevention and treatment of illnesses. Now let us take one example, a cancer patient. Okay, cancer is a terminal illness, so it comes with a lot of stress and anxiety. They not only suffer physically but they suffer emotionally as well. So stress and anxiety may hinder their treatment process, okay, physical treatment process. But if a person is motivated enough, positive enough, that may actually help in the process of treatment. So areas of interest for health psychologists can be stress and coping as in how do you deal with your stress, okay, and relationship between psychological factors and health. Like I already mentioned to you that if you are positive and motivated enough, that may actually help with your treatment. Then patient doctor relationship, okay, sometimes when doctors are very motivating or positive, that can actually help a person with the treatment. Then ways of promoting health enhancing factors. So psychologists can help other health professionals to enhance treatment processes by implementing some psychological programs or motivation or any other thing. So in hospitals also there are psychologists, they are appointed. We have a cancer hospital here, so many psychologists are appointed there because these patients, cancer patients, they not only need physical support but they also require mental health support. So now let us talk about clinical and counseling psychology. So clinical and counseling psychology deals with the causes of psychological disorders or other mental health issues, okay. So there are so many psychological disorders, but to name just a few, let's take the example of depression, anxiety, stress disorders, substance abuse and eating disorders. So they deal with these areas. And but then again there is a difference between clinical and counseling psychology. So in one of the previous classes I mentioned about how a clinical psychologist differs from a counseling psychologist. So the same thing here. Counseling psychology, it aims to improve everyday functioning by helping others to solve daily life problems. So they basically focus on lesser severe issues. So for example, I am a counseling psychologist. I am from the field of counseling psychology, and I can help students and other people with relationship issues or family issues, okay. But a counseling psychology, you will see a counseling psychologist working mostly in hospitals with psychiatrists. They deal with severe issues, okay. If you have heard about the disorder called schizophrenia, where people have hallucinations, as in they see things which are not really present in the environment, so they deal with mostly such cases, okay. And a counseling psychologist or the field of counseling psychology, we basically deal with improving everyday function, okay. So this is the basic difference. And now you may get confused between clinical psychologist and psychiatrist, okay. So a psychiatrist can prescribe medicines, but a clinical psychologist cannot prescribe medicines. A clinical psychologist can do testings on people and give a diagnosis, as in like what has happened to a person, like give a name to the illness to that person, like you are suffering from this disorder. So this is the role of a clinical psychologist. Now let us talk about industrial or organizational psychology. So these two terms are used interchangeably. So I think in one of your previous class I did talk about an industrial or organizational psychologist. So it's the same thing. This is the field of study and that was the field of work. So this particular study or area of psychology analyzes and understands human behavior in workplace. It deals with workplace behavior. It focuses on both the workers and organizations that employ them, okay. So industrial or organizational psychologists, they are basically concerned with training employees, improving the work conditions, and developing criteria for selecting employees. So if a person is working in a multinational company, so many problems may arise. Okay, maybe there can be some group conflict, uh, there can be lack of motivation, and while employing employees, the management can also make mistakes. So what they can do is that they can make some plan on how to employ employees for that particular company, or they can provide some training programs to enrich the skills of employees, or to enhance group cohesiveness, because in an MNC you have to work in groups. And let us take one example. If a particular management structure is not working for that organization, then a psychologist can help them building a new management structure for more productivity in that particular organization. So now coming to educational psychology. So educational psychology studies how people of all ages learn. So educational psychology, they support schools and local authority to improve all children's experiences of learning. So while learning also, we may face a lot of psychological issues, um, because of the school environment, or because of the textbook, or because of the curriculum, so many issues. Okay, so these educational psychologists, they are concerned with research on issues of relevance for education, counseling and learning problems. And after doing research in these particular areas, they help schools and boards like CBSE to develop programs. A related field to educational psychology is school psychology. So school psychologists help schools in designing programs to help students for their holistic or all-round development. They promote intellectual, social and emotional development of children. I think in one of the previous classes I mentioned you the role of school psychologists. So yes, they help the school authorities, the organization, to build programs to enhance the skills of teachers, students, to promote all these holistic development of children, and children with special needs also. A lot of children, they are not like regular students, and they cannot go with the same pace like other students. So special programs are need to be made for these kind of students. So a school psychologist can help the school in building such kind of programs. So now when it comes to the word sports, probably the first thing that comes to our mind is competition, right? So yes, there are some sports activity where there is no competition, but mostly when it comes to sports, there is a lot of competition, competing with each other, winning, um, defeat, all these things comes to our mind. So in a world of competition, a player faces a lot of pressure from the organizers, from their own team members, from family, friends, from the audience, everyone, right? So a player has to be psychologically fit, a player has to be motivated enough, positive enough. If a player is suffering from anxiety, stress, that may be reflected on how they are playing. I'm sure if you have gone through interviews of famous players, if they didn't play well, they would say that I was under a lot of pressure, there was a lot of stress, so I couldn't play. So it is very much important that a person has to keep his or her mental health first, and then only they can perform well in sports activities. So a sports psychologist help players to improve their performance by motivating them, enhancing their skills, etc. And sports psychology is relatively a new field, but it is gaining acceptance worldwide. So now let us talk about some other emerging branches of psychology, like aviation psychology, space psychology, forensic psychology, rural psychology, engineering psychology, political psychology, etc. So I am going to give you a brief about some of these branches. Okay, so aviation psychology. So aviation psychology is a branch of psychology that studies psychological aspects of aviation to increase efficiency and safety of aviation. So aviation is what? Activities surrounding aircraft industry. So while you are traveling through a plane, a flight, then when you go to the airport, then you will see there are so many staffs, ground staffs, and when you are inside the flight, then there is a pilot, cabin crew. So many people are employed on the aircraft industry. So and now the thing is that, see, this particular field of aviation, it requires a lot of skills. Okay, so whether to be a ground staff or whether you are flying the plane, you are a pilot, you need a lot of skills. So now let us take one example of plane crashes. So I think there was a program which used to come in TV, and I used to watch like the reasons behind plane crashes, devastating plane crashes. So I have come across a few stories where a pilot actually couldn't manage his own anxiety or stress, and because of his own anxiety and stress, he didn't know what to do. Like in his training, he was taught what to do, but at that point of time, his mind was not working, and he made some mistakes out of anxiety. So that's how the plane crashed. And I remember watching another story where it was suspected that the pilot crashed the plane deliberately, like he actually wanted to do it. So probably that pilot was suffering from depression, and he didn't want to live, he was not hopeful, and so he deliberately crashed the plane. So see how psychological factors are important in this particular industry. So recently, I won't say very recently, but still before it, psychology was not really used in aviation industry, but now they understand the importance of psychology in this particular industry. So while employing a pilot also, they check his or her mental health, if they are psychologically ready to fly a plane, whether he or she will be able to manage conflict. Okay, so and they are trained also, they are psychologically trained, they are motivated, so they have to go through such training programs. So this is how psychology also works in the field of aviation industry, and this particular field of psychology is known as aviation psychology. So now let us talk about space psychologists. So space psychologists are involved in a variety of tasks that are space related. They conduct psychological examination on space personnel, they implement programs, leadership, communication skills, conflict management on the people who are traveling in space, astronauts, all these kind of people. Because again, to survive in space, you require a lot of psychological skills. Okay, so it's not only important that a person has high IQ, intelligent quotient, but it is also important that a person is emotionally stable, is high on emotional quotient, EQ. Okay, so if a person is highly intelligent and has a lot of knowledge about space and space travels and everything, then also a person may not be psychologically fit to make a space travel. So all these factors has to be kept in mind, and space psychologists study about all these things, and they help in examining space personas and implement such programs of leadership, communication and conflict management. So now let us talk about forensic psychology. So if you have watched Hollywood series or Hollywood movies, I'm sure that you must have seen somewhere that a forensic psychologist is working with the legal system to solve a particular case. So forensic psychology combines psychology and legal system, and it focuses on psychological theory and practice to the criminal and correction systems. Okay,